Hello, everyone. Welcome to it's the last week of our life interactive sessions, and this week we'll be talking about climate and shaping the ecosystem. I'm sure most people that have gone through the Module 6 must have seen this already. So welcome to the last life interactive session for this batch. And then if you're joining us for the first time, well, you have joined the Braze Life Active session. At least it's not totally there is so what everyone like sessions gone through the agenda. So we have a presentation of two notable individuals that will be talking to us about our topic for today, and they have Desmond Bardeson and Osenaga. Chat and tell us name, your country, and your agribusiness. Please feel free to like-minded interviews. In fact, we should take today's connection seriously because this is our last live interactive session, and after today, you may not have this opportunity for this project anymore. So it's the opportunity, like it is the opportunity to connect with other entrepreneurs across Africa. It is not just people from your countries that are on these other African countries that are connected for this program. So please feel free and connect. Let us know what you feel about the LIS today. Are you excited? Are you even moody? For me, it's feeling good. It's been 6 weeks of wonderful conversations and interactions during the LIS, but then all of to be ending today. And also, I'm also very happy that we have been able to have a very successful live interactive session since the first week through this last week. And that's exciting for me. So it's missed for me. I'm happy that we have had a successful live interactive session throughout the 6 weeks. I'm also moody that, yeah, you're all leaving me, but then it's fine. We're going to stay connected, and then we are still going to do many more things together outside the live interactive sessions. So it's not with your best energy. So about African fisheries, like I always say, I think for this, we should just be saying it after me or alongside me because we have already seen since the past 6 weeks, and so many people are used to what African food chain makers is about. But for those that are just joining us and then to also help us get more clarification and understanding, at African Food Chain Makers, we believe that small and medium-sized enterprises are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. These enterprises are driven by visionary, dynamic, and innovative entrepreneurs who operate as primary producers, aggregators, processors, distributors, finance and technology providers, chefs, cooks, consultants, and innovators. We call them chain makers. If you fall into this category and you are here on this call, you are a change maker. So these change makers are faced with the devastating impact of climate change, global and local risk and shocks, and macro and microeconomic challenges. These entrepreneurs need funding, training, visibility, market linkages, and a community of support to successfully scale their businesses. Through the African Food Chain Makers AFC Hub, we enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that nourish Africa and the world at large. What do we do, or how do we do this? It's through community and data opportunities. We also have visibility and recognition and learning and trainings, which is why we are on this work. So quickly, this is the most exciting LIS need. where we get to meet with our top scholars for the previous week, the people that did exceptionally well. Oh, you all are top scholars, but then we need to announce some few people, and then so that's why we're announcing these ones. Otherwise, you all are doing really great. You've done great. You've participated very well. And then this is me saying thank you and well done for all of your contributions and then your participation in all of our live interactive sessions. So quickly for this week, week 5, yeah, the previous week. We have first person here is Robert Kitumani Chikwani. I hope I did not murder your name, but if I did, I apologize. So this person is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have Edima Basi Akpan from Nigeria. We have Oladeni Ayobami Simon, Nigeria. We have Dina Chikesenge from Zambia. We have Abdurrahman Saidu Gigi from Nigeria. We have Mari Ene Oga from Nigeria as well. We have Bernard Tu from Kenya. We have Honorable Ambassador Fakia Pollution from Nigeria. We have Afsat Ahmad Usman from Nigeria. Then we have Upu Terima Stephen from Nigeria. So please let us celebrate these people for coming out top scholars for week 5. Please still on this call, you need to celebrate these people and then tell them congratulations, give them virtual claps, whatever it is that you want to do. If I send them some love emoji to say congratulations. So congratulations to you all, and then we wish that beyond just being top scholars for the base programs, you get to be top scholars in even life endeavors, and well done to you, well done. Thank you so much. So quickly we'll go to the speaker's presentation. So because we want to quickly get things done for today so that we'll be able to treat all of the questions and then all of the concerns that you are having with the person and all the other things that you're having. We want to quickly get to do our speaker's presentation and our Q&A quickly so that we can get to some of these other things. So our first speaker for today is Desmond Bardeson. So we have so Desmond is the senior manager for energy and energy access clean technology. So Desmond Bardeson is a seasoned energy expert and project or program manager with over 8 years of experience in energy access, climate change, and sustainable development. He holds a bachelor in agri degree in animal science from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He's currently pursuing an MBA in finance and investments at the same institution. Additionally, he earned a diploma in innovation and entrepreneurial finance from Cardinal Business School. Mr. Bardeson is a certified associate of the Project Management Institute and a registered graduate animal scientist with the Nigeria Institute of Animal Sciences. Throughout his career, Mr. Desmond has successfully managed numerous projects and programs funded by international donors and organizations such as GIZ, USAID, UKAID, EU, DFID, USADF, UNDP, Procom McCarthy, Mitsubishi Corporate, AgriD, IKI, RLI, Upatal Institute, TBS, and Acumen West Africa. His expertise spans renewable energy, energy efficiency, climate smart agriculture, and the just energy transition with a focus on solutions like technologies. Desmond also made significant contributions to Nigeria's development and humanitarian sectors, nutrition, education, agriculture, livelihoods, research, and SDGs advocacy. His work extend beyond Nigeria, having engaged in projects across several states in the country, as well as in Ghana, Benin Republic, and Kenya. He's a fellow of several prestigious programs, including the African Food Chain Makers Grace Program, African Management Institute, Green Business Management Program, Youth for Sustainable Energy Fellowship, Climate Leadership Fellowship, and Climate Actors Acceleration Program. Driven by his passion for advancing sustainable energy and combating climate change, Mr. Desmond is committed to making a positive impact in Africa and beyond. So you all please join me and welcome Desmond Bardeson to the virtual platform. And just a quick one, he also used to be a part of this GRACE program. So yeah, you just have an alumni of the GRACE program coming to talk to you for one of the modules today. So Mr. Desmond, are you there? Good afternoon. Hi, Mr. Desmond.
Let me all my camera. I don't know if you can see me. I may switch network. Sorry, I've been saying
Yes, I can. Oh, so sorry. I can see you. Good afternoon, Desmond.
Like, good afternoon. Nice to see you, patient. Can I stop the video?
Okay, yes, please.
So everyone, nice to be here again. Thank you very much. Run through what I drafted, and I'll at the end of it, I'll also just ask a question that I would want people to give answers to if times permit, if time permits. Yeah, thank you. So I'll be talking briefly on climate and shaping the ecosystem in Africa and how it affects gender. Yeah, that's climate and how it affects gender. So briefly, I'll be talking about shaping a resilient ecosystem. We all know that Africa changes with gender playing a significant role in climate vulnerability and also resilience. So briefly, I'll be exploring the intersection of gender and climate and how it impacts the African communities and ways to also promote gender inclusiveness. So, like I said, Africa is highly vulnerable to climate change. And these are due to several factors, which include high dependency on agriculture, limited adaptive capacity, as well as resource capacity. We also have other challenges which include extreme weather, drought, flooding, which disrupt livelihood, like what happened in Maiduguri, and then Lokoja and the likes, and then also food security. Which affect like our rural communities that are vulnerable to these challenges. And you all know that women play a major role in some of these activities, especially in these rural communities. So I have had done quite a number of programs and currently doing organizing a program in Gombe State where I see a lot of women active women, both aged, young women, youth. Like I'm surprised when I see them bringing their products well packaged. It's not like something in nylon or they bring inside a small container. No, these are products that most of them give testimony that they export some of their products, and these are women doing these things. I met with one of the chairman of the association, like Smedan, and he was like, these women are really doing a lot. At some point, I had to plan a visit where we'll do like an advocacy media brief with media houses to talk about how women are vulnerable and how they need renewable energy technologies to ease their agricultural processes. And really, it's something that is really affecting them. They really complain about it, especially the hike in price of electricity, fuel, yeah, which has really affected them. At some point, you see that the product, what they are selling, let me give an example. The product itself is 1,000 naira, but you see they are selling the whole thing as maybe 5,000 naira. So where did the 4,000 comes from? You see it's from production, transportation, cost of fuel, cost of dehydrating, electricity bills, and the rest. So which is not encouraging. So you see how women are faced by all of these challenges, and as well it translates to everybody affected by it. They say once when you're able to educate a woman, you educate the whole community. Yeah. So it's something that we all need to work on. It's not the government role, but it's not only the responsibility of the government to pass or bring enforce climate change activities, but it's the role of everybody, both young, old, women, men. It's everybody that is impacted by climate change. So it's for us to fight climate change. Everybody's responsibility to fight these challenges or the impact of climate change. Women and men experience climate change impact differently. Women, particularly in rural areas, are often responsible for cooking, fetching of water, which makes them vulnerable to climate variabilities. So, and also children, because while women are cooking using their charcoal or firewood to cook, you see their children are hanging around them, cooking. And the next thing, you see children bringing out tears or women bringing out tears from their eyes, and you think it's normal, or you say they are teary or they want to cry, but no, it's already causing an effect on them. I read of a research that they said when you ask a woman, do you smoke? They said, no, I don't smoke. But again, they said that the research shows that every woman who uses charcoal or firewood to cook automatically has inhaled a pack of cigarette. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of the German research I read like 3-4 years ago. So you see how climate change is really, really affecting women. And again, when it comes to financing, education, and also health risk involved, everybody is being impacted by it. So climate-related resources scarcity increases health risk for women and also disrupt education, as young girls often assist in securing food and water during crisis. So there's a need for everybody. Like I said, it is now everybody's responsibility to fight this menace that is going on. Yeah. So promoting gender inclusivity, inclusive climate resilience. It is encouraging. We empower women in agriculture. We bring up programs, training programs, and also financial support for women as smallholder farmers, which can enhance food security as well as ecosystem health in them. Then also bring up innovative technologies such as climate smart technologies and early warning system, which I see that AFC or Sahel Consulting has been doing for a long time now. So it's a good thing they are doing this. And somehow I think if not only them, who is actually doing something around early warning system. So for natural disaster, which can also support women and also which are crucial for households resilience. So it is important that we in our policies, though Nigeria at the moment don't have like a climate change policy, the draft that they are still working on. That's the Federal Ministry of Environment. But again, in that policy, it is good that there's inclusiveness in the policy framework, whereby we advocate for policy that prioritize gender inclusions, in climate adaptations and also mitigation strategies. Then we try to form like a community-based solution, which is what I'm doing, where we try to profile a driving local solutions for energy transitioning in these rural communities for women as well as female SMEs to be able to ease their services or ease their production costs, and also develop a local-led or gender-sensitive adaptation project that can empower vulnerable communities to manage climate risks effectively, like the use of solar dryers, solar irrigation pumps, yeah, and the like, solar milling machines, solar grinding machines, and somehow it reduced dependence on fossil fuel as well as kerosene and charcoal. Women will not have to go distance to cut firewood or even charcoal, looking for charcoal, and the cost of it right now is even expensive. I remember while in one of the training, a woman said then they used to buy charcoal for like 900 naira in Nigerian currency, but now they spend about some of them 11,000 naira on charcoal alone. So imagine how much they spend. That's the financial implication, then the health implication again. So it's a lot of expenses or a lot of things, a lot of challenges women go through. And again, the men, because they actually give these fundings to procure some of these technologies. So I would conclude by saying that addressing climate change in Africa requires integrated gender consideration to build a sustainable and resilient ecosystem. So it's a collective effort from everybody, not just one person, not just the government, but integrating gender concerns to build a sustainable ecosystem. And the call to action is to support inclusive policies and also invest in gender-sensitive solutions to foster back to climate resilience. So it is now the responsibility of everybody, government, CSOs, to invest in gender-sensitive solutions. It can be local solutions, which I am always clamoring for. Instead of importing these technologies, going to India, China to bring them, takes months for it to arrive to Nigeria. But we have our local technicians here that you can give this prototype to duplicate or make. I know they may say it's inferior, but at least it will go a long way for people and also female or smallholder farmers to help balance the approaches to climate. So like I said, I have one question that I want to ask. If there is time, I will give 2-3 answers, probably from 2 regions, not just Nigeria. I want to hear from perspective. Like I said yesterday, the conversation was around food security. So food security is everybody's is everybody's responsibility. It's not just the rural farmers, or it's both the government, individuals. Please just listen. You may need a pen. If 70% of the space we call our common home and habitat, which is the earth, is covered by water, that's 70% of the earth covered by water, and the remaining 30% left for about 88 billion humans and all other terrestrial animals. And out of this 30% that we call land, about 10 can comfortably be ascribed to hills, mountain range, and valley, which leaves us to about 10% and 20%. And out of this 20, established a known fact, looking at the geometric rise in population, putting more stress on the remaining 20, further stress on land by conflict zone, which have become ungovernable through activities like kidnapping, banditry, insurgents, terrorism, and war. Some substantial portion also lost to natural disasters like flooding, drought, desertification, sea level rise, etc. Some huge portion also of this land have been lost to massive mining activities and other activities such as construction activities too. All these have strained the available fertile land for agricultural activities to grow food. Facts have also shown that genetically modified organisms' food is found wanting regardless the threat it poses to life. In the face of all this reality, my question is, how can we secure food security? Should I repeat the question? Please, you can use.
All right, Desmond. Sorry. So, if you want to respond to Desmond's question, you can just raise your hand, and then we'll ask you to unmute, so that you can respond. I think I'm seeing one hand. Should I go ahead, Desmond?
Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
So, please kindly unmute and talk. Ambassador G.I. Matotoye. I've asked you to unmute.
Good afternoon from Nigeria, and thank you very much for the opportunity and that brilliant question. Thank you, sir. Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello, am I being heard? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank
yes,
you.
I can hear you.
So, thank you very much. For me, as a young person who is trying to grow in this area, currently we're experimenting, and it's purely organic, and that's why I'm really very proud of this program, because it takes us to that route. For me, talking from where I come from, Nigeria, and looking at the challenges that we are gathering, even at this early stage, I think that the government of the day, as citizens, we have our part to play. But I think the government needs to put policy and laws within this area to number one, to regulate. For instance, we're talking about carbon farming. We're talking about climate smart agriculture. Where is Nigeria in Africa in all of this? What policy? What laws? Because even if you are just, I'm talking about Nigeria, even if you are just in your small corner doing something that is not commercial, you will see different kind of tax forces, even for agriculture, not oil and gas. You will see these different types of young men coming with different kinds of annoying papers in the name of taxes for something that you've not even started growing. So you have disturbances. This one is chasing you. This one is dragging you. You have issues. That's one. So we need government to put a policy. And then for this particular thing we are talking about, this little space now, this percentage that we already have now, we need government to begin to think, as is being taught right now in other clients within Africa. Government needs to begin to deliberately invest in carbon farming, in regenerative agriculture, in climate smart agriculture. Government needs to deliberately support these areas. Government needs to deliberately identify those who are really willing to work, not just theory, and come down to the community, come down to the rural areas to support, to have clusters and support, so that this, what we are talking about, the remaining land area will be able to be properly utilized. Right now, I can tell you that mostly what we have is lip service. You go to the different ministries of agriculture, different agencies, it's lip service. Everything is politicized, and you don't really have the encouragement. There are young people who are willing to work. There are men, women who are really willing to work, but they are being suffocated. Even the policies are not favorable. So I think that's what I'm going to. Otherwise, even that small portion of the percentage you are talking about, if there's no encouragement, if there's no push, we are even going to lose that which we have, because people will do non-organic People will bring in all manner of chemicals because there's no control, there's no regulation, there's no support that is sincere to solve this problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Patience.
All right, thank you, Desmond. If we allow this to continue, we may not be able to get to the next speaker. So please, Desmond, if you oblige me, would like to take the other speaker first, and then later we can come into this conversation, so we don't waste so much time. Right?
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So do you want to conclude or?
Okay, let me just conclude. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Ambassador Adamu, for what you just said. This is a conversation that struck me yesterday about food security. So food security is everybody's responsibility. I think the whole Africa or the whole world needs to unite and make this a priority. That is not Nigeria talking about oil, then Ghana talking about agriculture, then Dubai focusing on oil, you understand? But it should be a priority for the whole Africa or the whole world that, okay, food security is something we should make a priority. Not just the government responsibility, but everybody, like I said. So when there are policies, we need to start pushing for it. We need to play our own role while government gives an enabling environment to achieve this. So I guess I'll stop here. Thank you, everyone, and well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Desmond. Thank you so much and we should still come back to that conversations later, but let's start with the next speaker. So as a way of introducing the next speaker, she's actually the president and CEO of Sheet Africa. Her name is Osenaga Orokpo, a forward-thinking nonprofit sustainability and development organization focused on the actualization of poverty and hunger alleviation. That's Sheet Africa, quality education, gender equality, and climate action. I think this is SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 13 across Africa. She has 15 years of experience in promoting and implementing large-scale multi-million-dollar sustainability and ESG initiatives across multiple sectors, especially in the food and agribusiness sectors. As the former Chief Sustainability Officer for Africa Improved Foods, BV, and former Group Head of Corporate Responsibility and Sustainability for TGI Group, she has integrated sustainability thinking, doing and reporting across 11 African countries and impacted 3 million plus smallholder farmers. She holds degrees and certifications in sustainability leadership from Harvard University, accounting from Aberdeen Business School, UK, agribusiness management at Lagos Business School, sustainable development from Paul University, the Euclid, and finance from the University of Benin. During her spare time, she's a life coach and mentor to about 50,000 youths across the globe. Please join me and let's welcome Osenaga Orokpo to the virtual podium. Good afternoon, ma. I don't know if it's afternoon where you are, but good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. So I'll just leave it to you right now. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right, thank you. So everyone, once again, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here, and we'll be discussing the topic, as already mentioned, climate and shaping the ecosystem, and we'll be looking together at the intersection or how to balance gender and climate in shaping the ecosystem. But based on my experience, I will be channeling it mostly to food systems. Like the previous speaker said, agriculture, he asked a very key question, and that's really us thinking deeper and brainstorming to understand how we hope to sustain food systems and sustain agriculture, as a continent. Before I begin, I really want to thank the founder and management of African Food Change Makers. You are doing amazing. I joined this afternoon and I saw over 100 participants. I think that's amazing for you to have continued this work over many years. So we start now. As we all know, climate change is one very pressing issue of our time, and it has a lot of consequences on several aspects of our lives. It has consequences on our health as human beings. It has consequences on the ecosystem itself where we live in. It also has consequences on even the economy of the different countries and putting together the African continent. So there are consequences on these different aspects of the ecosystem, and it affects everyone. But the truth of the matter is that the effect of climate change is not gender neutral. Gender plays a significant role in shaping the vulnerability, resilience, and even how we adapt to climate change. So let's look together at the different impacts of climate change. So we see that climate change manifests through rising temperatures, manifests through different extremes of the weather. Sometimes, like the former speaker also said, made reference to what happened in Maiduguri, and we see that was an extreme case. We also see what happened in Jigawa some time ago, where many of the crops there died as a result of drought. So we see that the extremes can really impact as well. We also see, like it has been the case also in some of our dams and area, we see sea levels rise as well. And all of this leads to several unfortunate circumstances. First of all, it can lead to loss of biodiversity. We see that the food system is disrupted. And many of you remember, was it this year or last year, somewhere in Nigeria, where tomatoes skyrocket. I don't know how many people remember that, but there was a time last few months when. Please confirm that you can also hear me. I see a few comments saying that it's quiet.
I think it's the person's network. I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay, amazing. Fine. Okay, I think some confirmations have come in that they can hear me. All right. So I was referring to a time in Nigeria where, the drought and the weather affected the availability of tomatoes in the market. So we remember how tomatoes became so expensive that Nigerians started seeking alternative sources of tomatoes for their soups and for their stew. We're also in a time where Zambia, for those of you who are joining from Zambia, Zambia is experiencing droughts. A lot of countries in Southern Africa are experiencing droughts. You will agree with me that in recent weeks, the government of Zambia, because of hunger and some of the other related crises, all as a result of the climate change impact, had to start looking at killing elephants to eat. Many of you in your lives have never eaten elephants, but we are at a time when, due to these changes and due to its impact, elephant is now a major meat, yeah, and it's not even, unfortunately, the elephant meat is not even enough. It's not even enough for a lot of for the Southern Africans and for people who really want to consume it. So it is all as a result of climate change and its impact on our country. And then we look at all of these disruptions in the food systems. We also remember that in some instances there have been water scarcity where the river dries up completely. And then, of course, when there's terrible climate impact, on the country, we see diseases transmit very easily. In some parts of Africa, meningitis is on the rise, malaria is on the rise, measles is on the rise, Apollo is on the rise. All of this as a result of climate change impact. And when we ask ourselves, who are the people that are more vulnerable to this impact? You see that women happen to be more vulnerable because of social inequalities, because of economic inequalities. There are parts of, especially we that are Africans, there are part of Africa where women cannot, women cannot own lands, women cannot come out, and women cannot be seen mixing in the public. A lot of social and economic inequalities. Women cannot be seen in the public doing business, and so there's also a lot of dependence on natural resources for livelihoods. So if it happens that our ecosystem is affected by climate, women find it more difficult to access food, and then they are the ones who have to provide the most care for the families, for their husbands, for their children. If anybody falls sick, you all will agree with me that when someone is sick, they always look for the mother to cater for the person. And if the mother is not there, the next thing they would ask is, where is his sister? Where is her sister? Why? They believe that there's the extra touch, there's the extra care that the woman provides. In fact, interestingly, I used to teach sometimes when I'm speaking to a group of women, I say to them that the body of a woman is made to care, is made to, when a woman carries a child, the way she holds the child very dear to her chest, it's the child feels that warmth, feels that love, which he may not feel when carried by a man. Okay, so you see that a lot of things can go wrong if the climate is impacted. A lot of things can go wrong with the women. And looking at some statistics, I was looking at some statistics yesterday, a report from the UNHCR that stated that 80% of climate refugees are women. I also was looking at this UNDP data that states that women's mortality rates are higher when there are climate related disasters. And then when you assess all of these things, you can clearly agree that women are the most impacted when, or they are the most vulnerable when there's climate, disaster, or there are climate issues. Okay, so, looking at specifically what are the roles and how can these women somehow adapt to these issues, or to when there are several issues. So I think the first thing really is disaster risk reduction. So we need to start, governments, NGOs, organizations need to start thinking about discussing how to, from the very beginning, reduce the risks for the women. If it is health related, we need to start seeing how water sources can be made available. We need to start looking at how trainings can be done to reduce to improve the women's knowledge, to improve everyone's knowledge so that there's better understanding and then better reductions to any of these risks. All right. So that's very important as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I think after looking at that, I want us to now look at how we can balance gender, how and climate considerations, because this is very important if we want to eventually shape the ecosystem and if we want to ensure that food systems are sustainable. And
Hi, Madam Osenaga, we cannot hear you anymore.
I think our network just okay. So while we wait for Osenaga to sort a network from our end, we'll just continue so that we don't have to waste too much time waiting for her. I just hope that the network comes up and then what she's able to conclude her thoughts and all that. So sorry, everyone. It's the network. So okay, I think she's back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
I'm
now.
not
You were
sure
cut
what
off at
happened.
all.
I just noticed that everywhere had gone blank, but can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect. Okay, so let's continue as I begin to round up so that I take your questions. Okay, so I was talking about, how that balance can be achieved, looking specifically at gender and climate considerations. First of all, I said that it is crucial for us to be able to achieve that balance between sorry, Michael, I'm back now. Thank you. All right. So it's important to look at how to balance gender climate considerations because it is crucial for shaping equitable and sustainable food systems. And the way to achieve that balance, first of all, would be achieving gender equality. So we have to empower women farmers. By doing so, we have to provide trainings for women farmers, resources, and we need to strengthen women in the areas of training to be able to make decisions for themselves. So I've done that a number of years now by strengthening women cooperative farming cooperatives so that they are able to determine the price of their products. So when they work together, they work together as cooperatives. Their bargaining power is strengthened. I remember doing a project some years ago where we worked with 10,000 women. They were traders working with themselves and learning to be cooperatives, aggregating their produce together and strengthening their capacity. So when the time came for them to sell their produce, after the trainings, they understood better how to bargain and how to put different factors into the pricing to make sure that they were the most beneficiaries from the sales that they made. So all of these things happen when you really empower women farmers through training. Another very important way is, like I talked about, enabling women to make decisions is to further promote female leadership. So we must encourage women participation in, let us say, agricultural organization, and even when it comes to policy making. Access to market is another way to achieve that balance, especially as it relates to gender equality. We must ensure that women have access to market, to finance, to technology. Another very important area we need to achieve gender equality is on land rights. One of the biggest challenges we are facing today in Africa is the fact that women do not have access to land. So we must secure women's land ownership. We must secure control. A lot of these things have to be achieved in, as we continue to navigate different parts, working with local government, working with community leaders. So looking at achieving this balance for food systems, climate action itself is key. So we must practice climate resilient agriculture, where we are promoting practices like agroforestry, conservation agriculture, and cultivating climate tolerant crops. Right. Sustainable water management is another key way to achieve that balance, ensuring that intersection happens by implementing efficient irrigation systems. I listened to the first speaker very intently. I heard him talk about solar powered pumps. We are going into the dry season, and yes, solar powered pumps are the next big thing for cultivation. So I think that needs to really be looked at in detail. It's important for us to look at soil conservation itself, where we implement conservation, tillage, cover cropping, and crop rotation. Then looking specifically at the intersectional approaches, we now talk about gender sensitive climate policies, where we are addressing gender differentiated impacts of climate change. We're looking at women-led climate initiative. This time, give the women the platform and support them, the ones in leadership, support them to make climate change policies by themselves, what they think works for them. Let's allow them take the lead in making these decisions. Okay, then we should also have inclusive financial services. Again, I must appreciate the first speaker. I think it touched on a lot of very important topics that I don't need to stretch further. But just touching on what he said earlier, we must promote inclusivity. So there must be climate smart or climate resilient finance options available for women farmers as well. Then there must be participatory research where we are involving women and other marginalized groups in climate and agricultural research. So that's how the intersectional approach can help us achieve that balance. Okay, so I can go on and on, but lastly, I would just say in terms of policy, there are national policies, there are international policies, there are advocacy campaigns that can be held, budget should be allocated for it. Then lastly, monitoring and evaluation has to happen so that when these initiatives have been implemented, there is a structure to properly track the progress on the gender and the climate indicators. And there are a number of key stakeholders that will need to continue to throw their weight on achieving that balance of shaping the ecosystem, looking at it through the lenses of gender and climate. The federal government, state governments, international organizations, research institutions. I know that even private sector companies play a very key role, and platforms like where we are right now, African food chain makers, they continue to play a key role. So I think at this point I'm going to stop here, and I once again want to thank the team for inviting me. Happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that insight. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So please, if you have questions for either Desmond or Osenaga, please raise your hand and we ask you to unmute and ask your questions. Please, if you have questions. Does anyone, maybe from the learnings in the portal as well, but if you have any question, please raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute and ask your question. Oh, okay, I'm seeing one hand. Please, are there other people that have, okay, two hands now. If there are other people that have questions, because after I'm giving numbers, I won't let you raise your hand again. If you raise your hand, I'll lower it. All right, well, that's fine. Okay, I think I have 4 hands. All right, Ambassador G.I. Matutoye, I'm asking you to unmute and ask your question.
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay. I want to thank the speaker for what she's treating right now, and then the simplicity as to the explanation. For me, it's not a question per se, it's an appeal, because I think what she's saying right now, recently I'm asked to coordinate SDGs in my state and at the youth level. And one of the major things that is on the front burner is this gender equality. So what she's presenting now, because I've been thinking of how to go about it. So I want to ask to her and to other participants, please, if there is a way, or I can be partnered with or guided in this area, because they want young people, this in agriculture in my state, how we're going to galvanize them, how we can work with them, encourage them around what she's saying now. But since I'm not, I'm woman, female, sympathetic, but since I'm not a woman, I don't really know how to go about that. So please, if there is a way I can be supported, because what she's saying is very important. it's very important to support our ladies because they are passionate and but I'm not a woman, so if there's a way I can get partnership or support guide, I will appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So in essence, you're asking for if possible to get partnership and all that to be able to do gender equality and gender related programs in your states. I guess that's Nigeria. Okay. Let's put that in our diary, right? And maybe we can have better conversations around this as time goes on. But I think it's a good idea for people to get to know more and then get better about gender-related programs and all that. So I don't know, Osenaga, do you want to respond to this? You're muted.
Okay, I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Unfortunately, for the first part of the ambassador's question, I don't know if it was just me, but I think the network was off. But I heard your summary where you said he's seeking for ways to support the women in the agribusiness in his state with partnerships, and he's just asking for possibility of that. Is that his question?
Yes, that is
Okay,
it.
okay, yeah, yes. So first of all, I don't know what he does. So I don't know if he's a farmer, if he has a company or whatever, but I believe he's specifically talking about women in agribusiness.
Yes.
So because I do not know what you do, I will just give a solution from my own ability, from what I can do. I work as CEO for Shield Africa, and in about 3 weeks, we have our inaugural summit where people from all over Africa will be gathering in Abuja for our first summit. And the goal, the theme really is advancing sustainable development and looking at how we can achieve food security, poverty alleviation through youth and women empowerment. And to further push that narrative, Shield Africa is offering 2 million naira grants each for youth-led agribusinesses. So if you are within the ages 18 to 35, and preference will be given to women, because again, we need to make sure that we are advancing and advocating for women empowerment in this sector, especially in the agribusiness sector. So that's the solution I have. So if you have women that are connected, that are in agribusiness, tell them to go to shieldafrica.org. It's just there. We just see apply for grant and register for the conference. So just tell them to go there and click on it and apply. We are currently reviewing applications. So the earlier they put in the applications, it's closing on the 30th. And if anyone is somewhere around Abuja, please do well to attend. I'm sure you'll get a lot of value from it. But if you will not be in Abuja, we can make a link available maybe on YouTube, and you can watch. So that's my solution. Ambassador Madu. I'm sorry I didn't see your name, but I think they can check on there. Let's see if anyone can benefit from that grant.
Thank you so much. That solution is actually very huge, it's big. So please, if you're qualified for that, please go to shieldafrica.org. I'll drop the link in the group again later so that you all can see it properly and then apply and see how it goes. So thank you so much, Osenaga. Thank God I asked that you respond to this. All right. So please, next person, Prince Ame, please go ahead and ask a question. Please. Okay, please go ahead.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, my name is Prince Ame. I want to touch base on the climate change shock she was talking about. I have a question, though. Based on what the speaker said, she was talking about women being affected mostly. during talks. So I would like to know, because recently I followed the Taraba flood and it was basically women that were affected mostly. So I want to know, is there any security or insurance policy to support women affected by climate change or shock like that based on farmers, women farmers? I would like to know. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So to answer that question, I think there are organizations in I would point to insurance organizations like Leadway and other like-minded organizations that provide insurance for farms. And so, generally speaking, when you cultivate, ideally the farmer is supposed to insure whether male or female, just in case we have such incidences like what happened in some of our Nigerian states this year. So if that happens, some of these insurances, you have yield insurance and other types. Some are registered against floods, some against drought, some against even fire incidents, some against theft. So whichever one the farmer can register. I think I know Leadway because I've worked, and there's also Pula. These two organizations, personally, I've linked farmers to them, and the farmers do register. I have also registered some of my personal farms with these organizations as well. So it's not limited to women or men, but I know you may also be desirous to know if there's anyone that at least has reasonable, fair costs, and that may be gender friendly. Those ones, I don't know if there are such programs, maybe specifically to ameliorate the sufferings of women. But I do know that you have the normal insurance available with these insurance companies.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the next person is Munirudin Yunusa. Please, I'm asking you to unmute and go ahead.
Hello, good evening. My name is
Yes, good evening. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Moniwedin Yunusa. I'm a livestock farmer. So basically, the impact of climate change are felt by everyone: men, women, boys, and girls, even producers, processors, and other actors across the agribusiness value chain. But then, why do we need to give special treatment to women in the fight against climate change? Please, I'm directing this question to Mrs. Osenaga. I hope you get that. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
We can barely hear you, Osenaga. It's like your network is unstable. Oh, okay. That may be a network. Let's just wait for her to come back and see and answer the question. So, well, before she comes back, Joshua Ishola. Oh, I think she's trying to speak, but our network is unstable. Please, Ma, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Maybe you should drop off and come back. Just maybe. Okay, so please, Joshua Ishola, please go ahead and ask your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very insightful presentation from Mrs. Orokpo. My question is just very simple. And Ma, please, my regards to Apostle. Okay, so this is my question.
Hello.
Why are women
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me.
Can you just hold on? Let's hear her. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, so Senaga, we lost you at some points while you were trying to answer Eunice's question. So please, you can go ahead, Ma.
Yes, it was on
why we have to give preference to women.
Why? And I really appreciate it. But I actually touched on some key reasons it looks like we are giving special preference to women. We are not saying that it's not men are not affected at all. I'm not on that line at all. I am just saying that somehow women are disproportionately vulnerable, I would use that word, to climate change. And it's due to several reasons. I touched on the fact that there is social and economic inequalities. I don't want to delve deeper into that topic, but we all understand how in some parts of Africa, I'm not going to call any specific part, but I would just say in some parts of Africa, there are certain things women do not have rights to. And so when it comes to responding to the shocks of climate change, these women are not economically empowered generally to respond because of the social inequality which they were already suffering prior to the effects of the climate change. Then there is also the last part which I touched on was the fact that the women have the most burden to bear when it comes to caring for the persons that are even most affected. If, for example, we have floods today, like what is currently happening in Maiduguri, and we say, okay, we want to pack people to a place and we put you there, do not move, you see that it is the women they will keep there and say, cater for everybody else, cater for the sick, cater for the weak, cater for the men, cater for everybody. The women have to somehow bear that burden of caring. They have to bear that burden of being kept in one corner somehow to wait for things to wear off. So that increased burden on them, to somehow bear responsibility. If someone was affected and sick, they will tell the woman to stay with her or with him. So these are the issues. That is why we're saying that women are disproportionately vulnerable. But we acknowledge that yes, men are affected, women are to acknowledge that. I hope my answer suffices.
I thank you so much. I hope that answer suffices. Okay. If you're not answering
Thank you
that,
so much. It's also an amazing answer. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mrs. Osenaga.
thank you. Thank you. All right, so Vivian Okolo, please go ahead. Vivian, I'm asking you to unmute and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so thank you very much for this great opportunity. So I just want to ask a little question. There's this session is actually very impactful, and if you go to the interior communities where I stay, a lot of women who would want to participate and practice climate smart agriculture, a lot of women that needs to be empowered with trainings and all that, just like she said. They don't even have access to data. Like, for example, this Shield Africa grants, a lot of the women that I work with, my co-farmers at the community level, they don't have access to data. They don't have access to internet. So how do I ensure that people who are qualified to apply for these grants, how do I get that community of women on board for this particular grant? Thank you.
Okay. Vivian is asking, okay, Vivian, your question is, I think is really straightforward. Because the women don't have data, what I can say is the quickest solution is thank God you have data. So because you have data, what you can do is identify the women who you think, even if it's just one woman or two, who you think have who meet the qualifications, young women who you think are doing really well. Identify them and they want to scale their business.
Osenaga, we are losing you again. The network is breaking. You may want to probably pull off your video to strengthen the network. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, so anytime we get to Joshua, it's your last network is, oh, sorry. Well, let's see if she comes up now and answer the question before you go ahead to ask yours, Joshua. Oh, okay. I just don't want to get into something else, and she comes back. So please apologize, everyone. Let's wait a little while for Osenaga's network to be restored, and we'll get every other person's questions. I think it's just one question left, Joshua Ishola. Oh, yes, I know that you can't hear her. I cannot hear her either. Let's just wait for her
Very
network.
lucky. They may just be among,
Okay.
you know them.
So
You have them, the
Osenaga, we
interiors where
lost
you
you at some point.
I hope that
We
helps.
lost you. Hello, can you hear me?
Did you lose me?
Yes, we couldn't hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I was
Yes, so
answering
yeah.
Vivian's question. Yeah, I was answering Vivian's question. I said, Vivian, the good thing is that hello.
Hi everyone. So sorry about the interruption in our network, and we lost patience. But Osenaga, you can still continue. I can see you are back online.
Yes, yes, the network is terrible today, especially for people within Abuja. I don't know how it's like for people outside. But what I was saying to patients, no, not to patients now, sorry, to Vivian, is that yes, for the women, she has already responded, so I know she's seen my message. But just for everyone to know, if you have people that you think are qualified but cannot somehow access it because they cannot access data, you can use your data. At least you know about the grant, you have data, you can use your data. Just get one of them, two of them on the site and register them with the details, with their details, and give them an opportunity to win this.
Hello, everyone. So sorry about the network. Can anybody hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Let me just
Yes, we
wait.
can hear you now, patience.
I can hear.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. My network kicked me out. I'm very sorry. I don't know. Hey, God. Is there any other person that has a question that's not been attended to? Vivian, I'm sure Osenaga has answered your question. And Joshua Ishola seemed to be the last hand that was raised and has not asked yet. Please go ahead and unmute and ask your question. So we're asking you to unmute and ask. Okay, Joshua. I see that your hands are raised. So I'm asking you to unmute and ask your question. Joshua, please, can you unmute and ask?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, please?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you, Mrs. Orokpo. Thank you for the insightful presentation. I was actually reading a book some days back, about this climate change on women and everything. And it was said that women are completely at the forefront of climate solutions in everyday life. So please, Ma, give us an understanding why women are actually key to solving climate crisis. Why are they key to solving climate crisis? And lastly, my regards to Apostle. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I will extend your regards. Thank you very much. Okay, so Joshua asked a question. He asked, why are women key? And it's true. I can go on and on to explain why, but I'll just touch on a few things. Number one, but can you still hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Number one, women have what I like to call caregiving roles. Remember when I was speaking today about the fact that even the woman's body somehow is made to provide comfort and succor. That when a child is crying and the mother carries him or her, somehow the child seems to be pacified easier and better than when a man carries, because even the body of the woman provides comfort. So the woman has naturally caregiving role. So there is this primary responsibility of the woman for catering for the family, for the communities, and for shouldering responsibilities around food production, around water collection. I saw somebody say something down there about even collecting firewood, for cooking, healthcare, childcare. So generally, the women are the primary people. So that's how they're in the forefront for caregiving when any kind of climate issue comes up. You're asking specifically as to how are they the key people for providing or solving the climate issue. So they're in the forefront of caregiving. And so generally speaking, any problem caused by it, the women are those ones who care for it, like care for people. For example, with the flooding issue in Maiduguri, people are homeless. When people are gathered together, the next thing they will say is, we need food. The next thing they will say is, oh, this child, maybe the mother was carried away, or the father was carried away, or the siblings were carried away by the flood. They will not hand those children over to a man. They would look for a woman who somehow understands how to care for. They would hand over those children to a woman. So you see that. And now, when we talk about maybe another angle of proportionate impact, women are most affected because, in terms of losing livelihoods due to climate disasters, some of these women have little farms. So all their farms will go. Water insecurity, food insecurity, even health issues. The women get to suffer it more. Then, in terms of how they are in the how they are key to solving the issues, women, their empowerment is critical for, let me say, effective climate action. If you want to solve climate action issues, you need to, if you put women in a training and you say, okay, let's teach them what they ought to know. When the women are done from that training, it has been proven that women have this extra capacity to carry on from there and somehow amplify and multiply what has been given to them in that training. They don't forget about it, because when a woman has the ability to multitask based on research, so because of that ability to multitask, she can still carry the learnings from there and take on leadership roles. So when we learn to amplify their voices, they will be key to solving the issues, because they are the most heat. They would, when they learn, when they are most trained, they can lead the discussions, they can lead the solutions. Women farmers, through agroforestry, through development of crop varieties that are resistant to shocks and what have you, women can lead this drive, because if they've been properly trained, they have the ability to multitask. And again, women are effective mobilizers. So that's another way they are solution providers. They can build community, partnerships. They can gather amongst themselves. Women can come together, 100 of them, and they're, like I told you about the 10,000 women that I worked with, some years ago. These women, they can, till today, you go there, they are still together. And so anything they need to do, any solution they need to bring, once they discuss it amongst themselves, they can do it. Okay, so in terms of advocacy, in terms of promoting awareness, these women can do it. And so I think that's really how they tend to be at the forefront for of addressing climate issues.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Osenaga. So I'm not sure. Oh, well, I have one other hand raised, and
Okay.
please, Yabre Moimuna, Please, this is the last hand would I have to attend to. Please unmute and ask a question.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yabri Maimuna. I'm from Burkina Faso. So I have only one question, is about the age limit of 35. I would like to know why many programs just limited the age of 35, while we know that the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurs start being mostly conscious from the age of 30. So why is most of the opportunities limited to 35, age of 35? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that very valid question. I will take that concern not just to our management now, but to other institutions, that because I think that from a very honest perspective, Africans should be allowed to access certain opportunities after 35. Africa is a very unique continent. There are people who somehow do not realize or start really venturing into their full potentials until they are almost 40. And that's because of the challenges that the average African has to deal with. So it may be easier for somebody who is in a terrain where there is access to food, access to medication, access to education, access to jobs. So at 20, you may be in one of these first world countries, you already know what you want to become, and the system supports you to becoming that. But in Africa, you literally have to thrive, you have to toil to eventually become what you need to become. So I agree, it is a discrimination. And so I would take that concern back, and let's see if anything can be done about it, because I have really seen it. It's usually the youths are usually in the category of 18 to 25. But I think that even a 40-year-old is still a youth in Africa. Yeah, I think so. So we'll take that concern back. And I'll see how I can spread it on as many platforms as possible, not just Shield Africa, more platforms, more platforms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osenaga. Thank you so much. So this is the time where we quickly take the family shots with our speakers, and you all remember how we do it, right? So we're just going to on our videos, and then we'll take a shot with Osenaga and Desmond. You never can tell. This is an opportunity to show them this picture when you see them anywhere and say, oh, you were in a session with us and all that. So please okay, so I'll stop sharing now. So please put on your videos and your best smiles, and let's have those photos together with our wonderful speakers. All right, thank you so much for putting on your video. I can see some people already having their videos on. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so team members, please help us take these shots. All right. So if you have not on your video yet, you still have an opportunity. I'm going to shout going, and go. Then we have it. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Osenaga. Thanks for this wonderful time you're giving us, and we appreciate it big time. Thank you so much. And Desmond, is Desmond still on this call?
He's still here, I think. Yeah.
I can't see him. Okay. So Desmond, thank you so much. I don't know if you are here, but if you are here somewhere, thank you so much. And we appreciate you so much at African Food Chain Leaders. Thank you for always coming to whenever we call you. And Osenaga, this is your first time in Breeze, and really we want to see you again. Thank you so much for alleging us, and then thank you so much for coming for this program. We appreciate you so much, and God bless. So participants, let's say thank you in the comment section to our speakers. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So do have a good day. Thank you.